Yes, people, welcome back to GNA TV. I know it's been a long time, guys. Too long, to be quite honest with you. We are back to just to have a little chat about Chelsea qualifying for the Champions League. We've got a breakdown of the benefits of that happening as well. We're going to go through that. I've got a little bit of homework for you guys, so we're going to be going through that as well. We talk about transfer window, transfer signings, yesterday's game, bit of everything, guys. Good to see every single one of you here. I know it's been a long time, don't get me wrong, since I've seen you. I hope you are all well. I hope everyone's good around the world as well. I'm just still trying to get used to the whole layout here. The layout's changed at the back. But anyway, let's cue the intro and we'll get into this. Yes, people, welcome back to GNA TV. How are you all doing? Hope we're all well, wherever it is that you may be around the world. Big up to every single one of you that are in here right now. Up the Chelsea. Up the fucking Chelsea. Let's go. We've managed to make it into the Champions League against all odds. All odds, guys. All odds that the fact that we would not make Champions League is what we're being told by rivals, Gary Neville and Jamie Carragher. Some, even, I know it sounds bad to even say this, but even some of our own blue-blooded fans were predicting that we weren't going to make it into the Champions League as well. But we have made it into Champions League, and we haven't finished fifth. We've managed to get to fourth. They've managed to get to fourth after Newcastle losing to Everton yesterday as well. But evidently, I think it's very important that we have a chat about how, what are the benefits of us being in the Champions League, right? It's worth us discussing and going through that and getting into it as well. I don't know what's going on here. 2 seconds. I don't know what's going on there. I don't know what's going on there. It's just looking at something. But yeah, either way, big up to every single one using it. Guys, do me a favor if you can. It's been a long time since I've been on as well. Very, very long time. I remember the days of GNA TV hitting 200, 300, 400, 1,000 viewers alive. And it's been a very long time since we've done that, And I need everyone's help today just to really retweet on Twitter, retweet it on your socials, let people know that we're live if you can. I'd massively appreciate it, guys, if you can do that. I thought my Twitter would link to this as well, but it's declined it. I don't know why. Probably because I've not been on for so long, so I can't even connect my Twitter to this right now so people could see us on, which is very frustrating. But it is what it is. I want to go through quite a lot of stuff, to be fair, today. Let's say hello to the people in the chat. Big up Daniel. He says, Delap and Fatty, we should be being linked with Osimhen, Gakores and Rodrigo. We're going to talk about that. Leo, how are you? We have to be ambitious in the transfer market, is what we're hearing from Leo. Big up to you. RD, big up, man. Feels like a long time since I've seen you, man. Hope you're well. I'm good, man. Good to see you. The beautiful game. Wow, big up to you. Good to see you, man. I hope you're well, man. It's nice to see some like old faces here. But only if you've got your habits. Big up Couch Creek. He'll be joining us on today's show as well. UCL football, here we go. And it is a here we go, guys. It is literally a here we go. Up the Chelsea. Where did Chelsea finish? Oh, this is where we finished. We managed to finish in the top four, not top five. Let's quote repeat. We are in the top four. We are finished on 69 points, which is a good finish for us. Questions have been asked about what Chelsea's targets will be for next season. Again, we'll talk about that a bit later on. But in terms of where we are this season and what we've done and what we've managed to achieve, I think 69 points, is not bad based on still needing to improve the team where we were earlier in the season. I know we started very well, but we dropped off. We fell off the mountain, to be quite honest with you, with a number of injuries again, with a lack of performances from inconsistent players. But, however, the last 10 games, we picked it up. And I've got a stat showing, which we'll look at in a minute, of us being able to perform over them 10 games and doing very well, Newcastle, who are, again, a top team, experienced, talented individual players. Villa, again, experienced, talented individual players, all fighting for the same position. And Chelsea, with the youngest squad in the Premier League, have managed to make top five. So there is a lot of like positives around this. People just go, well, it's Chelsea, they should be there, but they forget about the context, and then they want to question why Chelsea fans are so upbeat about getting Champions League. Well, me for number one can explain that to you in a bit. We're going to go through something that's going to explain it. But from a financial standpoint and where it puts us on the map, it puts us back up there, guys. It puts us back up there with the elites, and it's about being on the global stage with the elites and being noticed by that. Yeah, that's what we are. This is Chelsea. For the Chelsea fans that are upset or annoyed because we're up, we're celebrating Champions League and saying that our standards are gone. I don't really think it's that. I think a lot of these individuals just don't like our owners, and anything positive that goes our way about this football club, they'll find a way to damn it down. Everyone's still got their standards. Everyone knows where Chelsea need to be and want to be in terms of winning trophies and being in, being up there. We understand that. We're not stupid. But what's wrong with celebrating the fact that we've gone from eighth and ninth or wherever it was before to then getting in the top four when we were predicted not to even get close? So at the end of the day, I think the boys deserve to celebrate. I think the boys deserve to be mentioned and recognised and enjoy this moment. We have got a big game on Wednesday in the Conference League. I want us to do it. I made it very clear for this number of times that it's very important that we win that we win the Conference League and we make Champions League football. For me, that is progression in the right frame and the right minds. Forgetting the directors and the board owners and what they're going to do moving forward, what the squad has had to do in terms of this season and their achievements, they are doing that. I expect us to still go and win the Conference League on the back of this as well. It's going to be very big that we try and work towards that. But it's a step in the right place, guys. And for anyone that wants to tell you they ain't and that Chelsea are just, overhyping things and whatever, they're the ones that told you that we wouldn't even get there. They're the ones that said to you that we weren't going to get Champions League and we weren't good enough to put in consistent performances like we did last 6 games. And if you look at last season's 23-24, guys, we got it right here. It says quite clearly, and you can clearly see that our performance levels have got better at the latter ends of the seasons, which is a good thing from a mentality standpoint. That is a good thing to see that in the last 2 seasons we've managed to pull together and get the job done. In 23-24, we won 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 games and drew 1. Yeah, and that was at the end of Poch's reign. And this season we've done the exact same thing, only lost to Newcastle. So the mentality here is that when push comes to shove, when we need to get a result, when we need to make things happen, we're managing to do that. We're managing to pull together. We're managing to find a way to get the job done. And that is a mentality thing. It says right there, it's a big mentality thing. Whether people like it or not, it is what it is, Trust the process, but not the owners. Yeah, I hear that. I don't think, I'm fully sold on the owners still. However, I will still be happy with what my team does along the way. Don't get me wrong. The challenges for the owners for me are coming up, and we're going to talk about that in more detail very shortly. Get me Oshie and Rodrigo and a goal scoring winger, not these potential. We're not even got to there yet, Daniel. Let's just celebrate the season so far. We've got that's all to come in the transfer window. That's all come in the transfer window. It's good to see you, though. It really, really is good to see you, mate. I want to just do a quick view of some transfer talks, and then we're going to go back into the game yesterday. And then after that, we're going to go through something that I've put together, which is going to explain why and how important it was for Chelsea to make sure that they get Champions League football. Now, if you're new here, please smash the likes, guys. I need everyone in here to hit the likes. Keyshawn, big up to you. Good to see you. We've got nearly 20 people. Like I said to you, it's because of my algorithm, guys. It's not like it used to be. I'm working on trying to, to get it back to it. Whereas I've not obviously been consistent as well with it, but I need you guys to help me share it out if you can at the moment and let everyone know that we're live, man. This channel used to erupt at the, on lives, man. We used to do really well, and Couch was a big part of it. He's right here. How we doing?
Oh yeah, I'm good, man. Yo, am I delay? Am I lagging a bit?
No, you're good. You're clean. I like the shirt.
Okay. Of course, man. This is the first time I've worn this shirt, man. I never really had an opportunity to celebrate Champions League. I had an old one and it got all ratty. So for the last little while, I just been having it, holding it for the right opportunity. And, just qualifying for this damn tournament is so vital to the progression of this team. Like, it's so vital. And yeah, like I don't even know if you went over it, but like there's so many things that we could like talk
Hmm.
about what this means. Obviously a front of shirt sponsor 50, 60 million, in and around there. We can talk about the revenue from actually just qualifying for the Champions League, somewhere in and around
I've
60
got
to
a
70,
I've
you
got a
know?
breakdown. We're going to go through it. I haven't
Yeah,
gone through it yet, but we're going to go through it properly because this is one of the big reasons why I wanted to do today's show, because I don't think people fully understand or digest it from a business standpoint how important it is moving forward for PSR rules
right.
specifically as well, and what it means for Chelsea moving forward. And like you just said there's a lot. It's not, the sponsorship is one thing, but there's also other things that we can also elaborate and go on as well, because this has actually cemented a clear path for us for the next couple of years when it comes to PSR and being comfortable as well. People don't
Mhm.
realize this, and this is why I've got this breakdown to go through. So we're going to get into that for sure, and we'll
Cool.
we'll talk on it. But just quickly, I just want to quickly highlight, because I did say I'll show some people some updates of today's news. I don't think the transfer window is really up and running yet, but we've been told by Ben Jacobs that Liam Delap is now expected. Liam Delap is expected to decide his future this week, apparently. So we're waiting to see what happens there. He's apparently Man United's top choice as well. Chelsea are heavily involved. Newcastle are apparently meeting him today, is what we've heard from. Who have I heard that from? Miguel Delaney as well. So there's a lot going on with Delap. He is one of the options. Don't get me wrong. We'll have to see what happens in terms of moving forward as strikers. I mean, on a short one, Couch. Me and you speak about strikers a lot, but in terms of going into this window, is there anyone you sort of favour in the market list that you'd like to see at this club this season? And is it just one, or would you like to maybe get two, for example?
I think two would help. I mean, it would put to bed this idea that Guiu is a quality striker that some people keep alluding to. I'm not on board there. But like I like Sescu. I think Sescu has the overall package of what we're looking for in a striker, and
Mhm.
I'd like to see him come into the club. But falling short of that, yeah, I don't think that there's a lot of, even with Sescu, I don't think that there's a lot of guys that you could look to that are
Mm,
going to just like vault us into, say, title contention or into like Champions League Final Four. I don't think that we have
mm,
any strikers like that available in the market, but just given his again his growth tree, which I mentioned on a few of the streams, I think that he's got the best profile for what we want to do as a football club, and he
mm.
scores goals. So yeah, that's kind of how I see it. Am I lagging? I don't know, man. I feel like I'm
No, you
lagging.
get a little bit, but not too
Okay,
much.
let me let me
You're
come out and come
really
back.
clear. Go on,
Let me
mate. Go
come
on.
out and come back. All right.
Yeah, go on. Yeah, I mean, following on the back of that, guys, my views on the striker side has always been: do we get, going to get Gyökeres, who I think would score a ton of goals for us? And I do think his profile suits us. I know there's a certain worry in and around the type of striker he is, because he doesn't score enough goals with his heads, and people are worried about his transitional side. But it makes a lot of sense for me. Like, it's common sense that if someone's scoring 54 goals, then 28 goals, then 17 goals, has 4 years of consistently scoring goals, that even if they have weaknesses, like all strikers do, they're very good at hiding them. And this is what I think Gyökeres offers. I think Gyökeres has the ability to be able to score different types of goals, even though people say a lot of it's on transition. I don't get why people were upset that he can create space for himself, yeah, and be clinical and score goals, you know, in the moments, and that's what he does. And yesterday, in the big moments when he's needed to be stepping up, he's
Oh,
stepping up,
are we on Gyökeres
putting
now?
balls in the
Is that
back of
where
the
we
head.
are?
And
Is that where we are, Gyökeres?
we're just
Okay.
briefly talking about Gyökeres, but my thing is this, Couch. Like, I'm not overly sold on all of them. I've told you this before. Even though I was talking about Gyökeres as the one that I would like to come in and I think suits what we're trying to do moving forward, I still do think that we should get a second striker. So for me, if we went and got Delap and Gyökeres, knowing that Delap's got his relegation clause in there, which means his actual overall fee drops, I think that's a really, really good striking
Yeah.
team we have there, and I think it covers areas. And people that are worried about Gyökeres' heading ability, you now have that in the lap. Like, it's about, do you know what I mean? And the one thing that he will give you is goals. Like, I don't care what anyone says, this guy will score goals. He will put the ball in the back of the net. He strikes the ball
It's
clean.
just about how many. It's about how many, really, right? That's
I mean, look at his stats for the last 4 years. It's not like he's doing it 1 year and disappearing. You know,
bro, it's championship and then Portugal. Like, let's be real.
But
There is a reason to carry some caution there, right?
The championship is
the physicality. I'm not even talking about the physicality. There is reason to carry caution when you're talking about a championship striker, Portuguese striker, Portuguese league striker. So yeah, it's not as, oh yeah, he scores goals. Like, yeah, he scores goals in those leagues. Can he translate his game to the Premier League and be able to produce on that level? Like, that remains to be seen. And that's where a lot of I really do think it's that complicated. Like, it's not an easy league to score in. We've seen better strikers come and fail. So
but not on the level of how we create, mate. Not in the way that we create for our strikers. We create such easy chances, like that any other striker with box presence. So
how is Keyshawn talking about Retegui and he's hating on Sesko? Come on, man. I can't wait. Keyshawn, I've seen you in the chat a few times, man, and I can't wait for you to be shown the true potential of a man like Sesko. I can't wait for that.
Who's Retegui? I don't even know who that is. Who the hell's Retegui? I never even watched this guy. I mean, I didn't even know who Titike was the other day. I had to ask Couch, is this guy even good? Like, I've not even watched him, to be fair. So
no, I don't mind the shot of Hugo Ekitike. I think that he's got good, like, technique. He strikes through the ball. He's just not strong enough for the Premier League, as far as I'm concerned. Like, I would take him as the left winger, because I think that he has the technical ability and pace to get by on the flanks. But as the go-to 9, there's going to be some growing pains there, I think. But good shot, Amir. I agree with you. He's got some
24, 25 stats, 34 goal contributions in 48 games. So there is an active and there must be some sort of good traits about this guy for him to be doing numbers like that in some sort of way. I hear that, but I've been told he's very like Jackson, and that worries me. Having someone that's like worries me.
Yeah, he could, and for the same thing, like, because remember, Jackson used to play as a winger too, so he's got the pace and he was pretty tricky and whatnot. I see Hugo the same way. I think that he could be a difference maker out wide, like a goal scoring winger for us, but I don't think that he wants to play there. He usually plays in behind the striker or as the main number 9. I've not once seen him play as a wing. So it'd take some thought to get him out there. I don't think they're going to make that choice, unfortunately. But quality striker, just not the right sort of profile in terms of what you need in the Premier League. You need a real physical presence up top. We have all the little nippy guys now. Like, we have the Cole Palmers, we have the Jacksons, we have all these guys. We need a guy that has the physicality that can carve out space in the box and score. That's really what it comes down to.
Atlanta striker. Okay, I'd have to look into that one. Atlanta always seem to produce quite good strikers, to be fair, from what I see the last couple of years. But look, guys, we're going to talk more about transfer. Well, it might not be in this show, and this is why I'm on today. I know we've got over 30 people here right now. Big up to you guys. I appreciate you all coming in and showing some love. And guys, like I said, if you can retweet it, it would help the algorithm and the channel as well. Just go on Twitter and retweet my link, which is on my Twitter page. That would help. We're looking to potentially do a new channel, guys. I want to kind of reboot this whole thing and go again. I feel like what we've done on GNA has been very successful and it's been very fun, and we've had so many good shows. I mean, starting from when I first set it up with ads all the way to them running it through with the likes of Couch and ads and everyone that came in. And we were always producing what I hoped was very good punditry, was it, or views or thoughts on it, which was what our thoughts were of our football club through this channel. And this channel's also brought a lot of people together. I'll be honest with you, like, now Don started, as we all know, Don's doing very well now and he's in and about, but he started with GNA. This is where he got his whole, his whole.
You started this mess. Exactly. You started this mess. Now all that loud noise, you let him build his noise, and now look, it's all your fault, man.
Yeah, and Ches, for example, he's on his own way now, doing his own shows as well. It was all brought together for it, so it's nice, man. It feels good to know that GNA, even though it eventually won't be around for long, has done its bit, and it's been very good, man. I enjoyed the transfer shows. I've enjoyed the live match reactions. I've enjoyed the arguments back and forwards. It's always been respectful and no one's been disrespectful with their views and points. And yeah, I think it's time for us to start something fresh. Even though we built up 8,500 subscribers here, I think it's time to start a bit fresh, just because of what YouTube's done to this channel, guys, in my opinion. So good evening, gentlemen. Back in Champions League. It's who we are, mate. It is who we are. It definitely is who we are. Hassan in the building as well. Big up Hassan's another one who's always been along for the live as well. Right, I want to go back to the game yesterday, and then we're going to talk a little bit more into depth about the business side of it, guys. And this is why we're on at the moment, because I wanted to just discuss that. But in terms of yesterday's game, Chelsea have only lost one of their last 10 Premier League games this season, obviously winning 1-0 on 4 different occasions during this period. The youngest team in the Premier League behaving mature. Fair play to Enzo Maresca. And do you agree with that, Couch? Do you agree with that sort of view on the last sort, especially this last sort of latter period of games? Have you seen a matureness to this young Chelsea squad?
Yeah, 100%. And this is, I think I mentioned it in the chat. I was talking about this top 4 finish is no easy feat by no means. Like, this is a true accomplishment when you look at the fact that, of course, we have one of the youngest teams in Europe, the youngest in the Premier League, the youngest team to qualify top 4 in the Premier League ever. And you take a manager who's only just come into the Premier League for the first time, taking this young squad, no experience, has never been in through a Christmas period, has never been, in a proper run-in. He's taken this team, and I think all of those things culminating in a top 4 win and the prize money that comes with it is something that you have to commend. You have to commend it. Like, there's no escaping the fact that this was a real achievement. And like, as far as achievements go, like, I look at it like this: the reason why everyone is so excited about it, we're back in the Champions League, but this is a high stakes game. Like, we're talking about, there's maybe about 120 million pound on the line for this game. When you consider all the things that we're in for right now, there's about 120 million riding on this game. And these guys were able to deliver a performance that, was conducive to winning. Not only that, but once we went up, we saw this manager show the ability to variate his tactics again to see out the match. And this is what I've been asking for. Jim, we've been talking about this through the chat. How many times about this guy? Yeah. If you can't kill the game, then don't lose the game. See out the match. Bring on people. You have enough defenders on the bench. Bring them on and just get the 3 points. And through the Christmas period, we see Chelsea go up 1, try to kill the game, get bit back, and we tie or we lose. And that stubbornness was what was costing us games. The fact that he didn't want to humble himself and just like say, you know what, we're not going to be beat right now. We're just going to hunker down and be tough to play through. That was the one thing I wanted to see, which was why I thought we had, why we had the defenders that we had on the bench and whatnot. And, you look at like even Sanchez. How many times did we see us when we're playing out from the back? We see Sanchez just give it right back to the defenders, like a direct pass right back to the defenders.
Yeah.
The last 5, 6, 7 games, he's just hoofing it down the pitch right now. That's why you don't have the possession that we used to have, because this guy's now just taking the decision to just get rid of it. That is a tactical switch from what we've seen in the beginning of the season. So all of that stuff just comes down to maturity of the squad, maturity of the management, and like a squad that understands what it means. What is on the line. We have to get it over the line, and I'm glad that we did, to be honest.
Yeah, I back that completely. I have seen a matureness in the way that we've played, and it gave me that sort of Jose-esque feeling that even defensively, the 3rd best defense in the league on paper as well. They've shown some real grit to be able to manage to get the job across the line, even if we're not scoring a load of goals, which we haven't been for a while, and that's, hats off to them. And like yesterday, I said it yesterday, the game for me was what I call a dogged game. It was a game of just forget about I'll say qualities, but forget about the individual performances and look at how hard the players are working, knowing that they're not flowing as good as we've seen earlier in the season, but working off the ball hard to make sure that whatever we had, we protected it well enough. And look at Cole Palmer, for example. He's a big example. He's not been in the greatest of forms for a while. But yesterday, I see this man running up and down, left and right, running down wings, following players, trying to win the ball back for the team. It was an overall very, very strong performance, team performance to try and get it across the line. They all knew what the job was. They all understood the task. But you know what the ultimate big thing was with this is the fact that they knew that we were going to get that one opportunity. And every time we seem to get that one opportunity at the moment, we're putting it in the back of the net, which is very good. Don't get me wrong. It's very good that they've got that way about them. And it came from someone that has had a lot of criticism. Don't get me wrong. It has been having a lot of criticism. But we're going to get into the defenders in a second. But Hassan, big up to you, man. Good to see you.
Yeah, it's been a while, man. I thought I might as well make a guest appearance for the last time.
Yeah.
So
How you doing?
how you been though? How you both been,
Yeah,
man?
good, mate.
I know it's been
Yeah, all
up
right.
and down for you guys, man. And I
Are
know
you
it's been
losing?
hard for you, Couch, for a few years. Up until Maresca came in.
Yeah, we struggled. We have struggled. What did you think of the game yesterday, mate?
Yeah, I think it was one of them old school sort of Chelsea-esque sort of scrappy wins, and it's good to see the lads get it over the line. Especially with the previous managers, the minute we go 1-0 up, or like there used to be times where we'd go 1-0 up and then we just immediately concede after, or the players, like the composure in the back line used to, cost us points and stuff. And yeah, it's just yesterday. I'm just glad that the lads have got it over the line, and like what you guys were saying, Maresca has had a lot of stick simply because there's a immense amount of pressure from the board, from the fans. Well, not really the board, but you get what I'm trying to say. It's like
Yeah.
it was pressure from all around, and Champions League. The feeling of Champions League was a must, really, even though they didn't really say it. And that's what Maresca has done, and you got to give credit to him. Like what you guys were saying, it's the youngest squad in the league, and a lot of players have barely, like, if you look at like majority of the £1 billion signings, a lot of them barely have got 50 professional games under their belt besides the main 11. So yeah, like what you guys were saying, Maresca's done his job and he's done well, and it's literally the only thing that's going to make it a successful season is on a Wednesday or not. But that's a complete separate story, and that's a complete separate review. But Premier League wise, he's done what he needed to achieve, and that's top 4.
100%, 101%, and that is the facts. Top 4, and that was the aim for the club, right? Was to be able to achieve that aim, which they've managed to do, and that is all. I mean, that's all can you ask. I want us to win the Conference League. That's a big thing as well. But in terms of what we needed to do in the league, they've done it. I've got to give them that. So it's really, really good to see. But I want to talk about some individual players as well, guys. Do me a favor, keep smashing the likes if you can as well. There's also a tweet that I've put out for the game, which I'm going to retweet again in a second. If you guys could retweet that, Pies has also retweeted it for me as well. It's for the live that we're on currently at the moment. It's got nearly over 10,000 views. So yeah, if you can do that, that'd be amazing. How long you guys been on? Not long, Javi. Not long, man. We've half hour we've been on. I want to quickly go over to some individual performances. That's the next day, individual performances, and then we're going to talk about what I want to talk about, which is about the benefits of being in UCL and what it means moving forward for a Chelsea Football Club. Tosin yesterday, I thought he was my man of the match. I'll be quite honest with you. I thought he was unbelievable, winning balls in the air. I've always thought he was aerially very good, and he's dealt with the bigger number 9s throughout the season when called upon. It made sense for him to start yesterday, and he didn't let us down. He didn't fail, and that was the most biggest thing here. Tosin stepped up. Tosin performed to the level that we need him to perform to. And he was leading at the back. He was making tackles. He was winning balls in the box. It was everything that came in the air. He cleared. And I was just very, very, very impressed with what Tosin brought to the table in that game. And we needed that from our defense. So, yeah, I mean, Xavi's in the building as well. Long time, Xavi. How are you, bro? Good to see you.
What's up? What's up? It's been since you came to the States. I ain't seen you in it.
Up the Chelsea, man.
Can you hear me well? Because I'm like
Yeah.
in a. Oh, sorry. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we could hear you, bro. Very loud and clear. We're just talking about the game and or specifically Tosin's performance. How did you feel?
Oh yeah. Tussin. I like, even though like Wood had them 2 chances, one was hard. The first one, because the guy came off his shin, it's like harder to get contact with that. But the one that Sells put in the box, he did well to take that down. Like, it's a shot that a top striker, you say, okay, puts it in the box. But you got to remember, he's taking it down and the keeper's rushing out. He has to rush that. You know what I mean? I think Sanchez
Yeah.
did well to encroach. And then not only that, our two challenge, I forgot if it's Reece James or somebody else, put pressure on him. You know what I mean? So he had to take that snapshot. But Tussin, besides that, I think everything aerially. I just saw him locking up, sweep. What we call that, we like sweep or something like, you know what I mean. I think him and
Yeah,
Cole
yeah,
very well, but mainly him, especially because like having a striker like Chris Wood, you like you send it up and then he continues to play, like you know what I mean. He takes the ball down, brings others into the game. We nullified that, and then it was trying to cross, nullified. We forced him out wide, nullified that.
Yeah.
Like you know what I mean. Very good. Passing was good. I was very impressed.
100%. Yeah, I mean, Couch is back with us as well. Couch, what do you think of Tosin? I mean, I think he's having some difficulties at the moment, guys. He's trying to sort his stuff out.
Sorry.
Can you hear us? Yeah,
Yeah.
you good? Yeah.
He's muted.
You're muted, man.
Something mad wrong with my computer. I don't know what it is. It must be this McDonald's Wi-Fi that I'm on or whatever, but something ain't right. But
You moaned
anyway,
about McDonald's Wi-Fi, and you've got one yourself. Jesus Christ.
Like, am I moving all right though? Like, you guys can see me clear and
Yeah,
whatnot?
I can hear you, man. It's fine. We can hear you. So that's important
Okay,
thing.
yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, no, I thought Tosin was good. He was my man of the match, to be honest. And not really because of his defensive acumen. I thought that his clearances were important. I
On the
thought
ball.
that I don't know if he was 100% switched on all the time in terms of like defending the box, like Xavi was saying, because like Chris Wood got a couple yards on him. It wasn't like he just basically got him. He got a couple yards on him for that last chance to score. So it just wasn't really switched on there. But for the majority of the game, and to be that focused for 90 plus 98 minutes or whatever it was, the ball playing ability, breaking the lines, just the leadership back there, the guy that was really rallying the back line, really motivating the guys and staying, communicating well. I thought that he was brilliant. If he gives us these performances, even 6 out of 10 times, I'd be okay. But it's just they're few and far between for him. It feels like he thinks that he's like the thing that, okay, I'm not gonna hate on the guy because like he had a really really good game. Like I said, he was my man of the match, but like he's the kind of guy that like thinks he's a leader. He's the leader of men, but also the guy that makes the most mistakes too. So you're just kind of like, why would I be listening to you for leadership? You know what I mean? Like you're not that guy. You know what I mean? If you're gonna lead, you have to be.
He's one of the elders, though, Cal. He's one of the elders.
No, I get it. He's like somebody's uncle or something like that. He's big unk, that kind of guy, But like you're telling guys to do things, and like the things that he tells them to do is the things that you don't want to see them do. I'm like, no, don't do that. Don't overlap there. Hold your shape. Like anyway. I thought he had a good game. I'm not gonna lie. I thought he had a really good game.
Yeah. I'm gonna go to Hassan on the next one. Hassan. Colwill has been criticised a lot earlier in the season about his performance. Let's say earlier. He was right earlier in the season, but mid-season he's been criticised for his performances dropping or falling off. And when I say falling off, it was over sort of a 5-game period where we all weren't too happy with what we were seeing.
9-game period, I would say.
Yeah, but this last sort of 10 games since Fulham, I would say where we came back 2-1. It's probably the game, I'd say. From then onwards, he's really shone. I mean, what's your thoughts on Colwill's performances?
Like what you said before, this season, the first sort of part of the season where everyone was doing well, he was actually all right. And that 10-game middle period where he was, getting bullied off the ball, getting, like barged off, and the players or the winger goes clean through on goal and just slots it in and stuff. Like he's had like a really bad sort of middle patch, but I feel like that was more of a team thing. But he was more highlighted because if you make a mistake in the back line, they're through on goal. You know what I mean? So, so yeah. it's just like the way Sanchez gets hounded off for mistakes as well, because obviously his mistakes are a lot worse because he's the goalkeeper. But besides that, like what you said before, he's improved and he changed up the last sort of 10 games of the season. And yesterday's, I was just saying in my head, one of the Cobham boys is going to step up to score the winner, and I didn't expect him to be it, but he did it, and that's what we needed. We needed him to get it over the line, and he's ended the season quite on a high note and on a well note. So yeah, he's probably silenced a lot of the critics, and fair play to him.
Yeah. Yeah, I was very critical of him. I'm not going to lie about it. Like, I had my question marks about his performances, but I'll be quite honest with you. I think it was deserved at the time. I don't think I wasn't seeing what I was seeing that I have seen since Fulham from him. And I expect that, I expect him to, don't get me wrong, I expect him to have moments where maybe he falls out of form because there's the inconsistencies there when you're a young player. But, the errors that he was making were leading to goals. There were bad back passes, like the one I think against Brentford, where they just ran on and scored. Like,
No,
there were
West
just
Ham.
too many. Was it West Ham? Sorry, yeah, West Ham, where he's ran on and scored. Like, he had some real bad moments, and I was like, Cole, man, you're meant to be, for foreigners out, you're meant to be the one that we look to, and like, are you that guy? Are you that leader? Can you show some commanding presence? Can you show it? And the question marks for me there showed that he doesn't look like the guy that could be a leader, more of someone that could thrive next to someone. But since Fulham to now, in terms of his own game improvement, stepping up, winning balls, playing the right balls, knowing when to go and chase the ball, it's just the aggressiveness of his game just got, it just made his game better from what I was watching. And he's not really stepped a foot wrong really for these last couple, last period. I say couple games, but this last period, and he's, fair play to him for getting in the right position for once, because we are crap from scoring goals from corners. I don't know why we're so bad. We've got these good guys that can cross good balls in, but 9 times out of 10, we ain't scoring from them, so it was nice to actually score. Well, it was, say, from a corner. It was after the corner, wasn't it? They headed it out, and then I think Cucurella hit it back in, and then Pedro. Yeah, was it a shot, Pedro? Was it a pass? I mean, I've watched it a couple of
I
times
think
now.
it was a shot. I think he scuffed it. To be honest,
But he scuffed it, or was it his awareness?
It's one of them ones where he
I
scuffs
think he
it, but
scuffed it.
let's
I
be
think he
honest,
scuffed
it was a shot.
Yeah,
I don't know. I'm not 100%. I saw an angle from it. It looked like he side-footed the cross, but
he did type it. I saw that. Yeah.
yeah, like from that angle, you're not side-footing it from there, right? You're probably just trying to put your foot through. But anyway, I don't know. Either way, it doesn't matter, man. It was an important assist. Like, that was
Yeah.
so vital. And to be honest with you, I think that we struggle. Colwell struggles aerially. To be honest, like
Yeah.
anything on the carpet, he's fine. But like aerially is where I think that he's been the most, obviously poor. Like he just can't get up for the ball. So yeah, I thought he had a decent game. Very very important goal. Like I'm sure that we've all highlighted. Very important goal. And again, he just did not give up. That's kind of the maturity that you need to see a young center back make. Let's not forget that he isn't the finished article yet. He's not even anywhere near it. These performances, these high stake games where everything's on the line, we're talking about 120 million pound at least. You step up and score a goal like that, that can only galvanize you and make you, turn you from this, younger boy type figure into like more of a young man, a guy that's actually growing and becoming a better footballer. Like these are the moments that make that happen. And I want to shout out Reece James too, just because, leadership is something we've been talking about a lot this year, like leadership and, experience and not having the moments, right? And Reece James being a little bit more of a leader by example than being the raw type. And I thought that this game was a different example of that. I thought that well, obviously in the first half you can see him in the huddles. He was certainly commanding the huddle and taking over and letting people know what it means. And then again in the second half, we saw it again when they huddled up to start the second half. He's taking control of those huddles, which is very important. Not only that, but then he's well spoken. He's going to the refs. He's getting involved. You know what I mean? Like, so all of these things again is about like a leader showing that next level of evolution, because it's so important. Like for me, you can have a talented squad, but if you don't have a leader who can sort of like marshal it all together, like somebody that can actually, men want to follow, then you don't really have much. Leadership is very, very important at this level. And to see him step up and be the type of leader that, have a moment that could galvanize a team and be the captain on the pitch, taking taking the decisions and whatnot. Very, very important, man. And now the next thing is for him to kick on and produce again. But
Yeah.
this is definitely an opportunity for him to say that I had a moment as a Chelsea leader, and we definitely came through for the club. Now can he kick on?
Yeah.
I think for
Yeah.
me,
Go on,
what
Jerry.
not on James, but James has stepped up too. What Cole I feel like has stepped up too. He had more grit to his game and he's more concentrated. Like we all know that he's good with the ball playing, but can you defend? Can you like put your body on the line, get in place, and read the danger before the danger comes? You know what I mean? And I think he stepped up. And when I've seen a lot, he's like forming into low key leadership. I don't know if he's a full leader yet. He's younger, but I can see that way he talks. Like even after games, coming up to press conferences, he's always like, "We got to be switched on. We got to push game by game." You know what I mean? He's showing kind of like those qualities. And I think yesterday I said it. This like season for me was like a coming of age for like a lot of players in the squad. You know what I mean?
100%.
Yeah.
They had to step
And
up
that's
in key games. Like we had the toughest schedule out of everybody. People can talk crap about Liverpool, Man U, but in the past, we don't get those jobs, the game done. We had a lot of 1-0 wins, you know what I mean? And our defense was,
100%.
yeah.
That's what leads on to what we was about to just quickly say before we go into the business side of it. Enzo Maresca says they are good boys, they work hard, they try to help each other. Most of the time they had to deal with noise from outside saying they weren't good enough. They were too young. We didn't have leaders, this kind of thing. But at the end, it all comes from results. I couldn't have had any doubts about the players, any doubts where from outside. The players deserve the victory. And I've said many times the effort they have put in is fantastic. I've got to agree with him. I can't really argue against the performance levels and the matureness to be able to, take games at the Jose-esque style, where we just nick one goal, or if we were behind like Fulham when we came back into the game and we managed to find a way. The old Chelsea's over the last couple of years has been that when we go behind, what happens? We break. We lose 2-3, 4-0 or whatever. It's just we get shambles. We just can't seem to find a way back in. But now it's more of a determination to want to win, to want to prove people wrong in a way, to want to put Chelsea on the map where they should be. And there's a lot of expectation on them from the contract side of it as well, which we're going to talk about as well, which people don't realize. This is why they have these long-term contracts. There's some stipulations in their contract that kind of, not say force them, but puts the incentive on them to make, want to push for Champions League. And this is why people call the over celebrations, especially the rivals, are celebrated like they were. We're going to discuss that. But before we go on to that, I just want to quickly ask you guys, in terms of what we've seen of Chelsea these last 10 games, I asked Hassan, the matureness of the team, and it's always been in question about us in the past. Do you see this as now that we have we have a core that we just need to add to it, and we move forward with Enzo Maresca, and we just have some stability moving forward? Do you believe in that?
Yeah, like what you were saying before, the last 10 games was like a real test for these lads, because like one or two mistakes or one or two losses, and we would have possibly have made it into the Champions League. And it's one of them ones where they're gonna probably go back in the market and just like stabilize the team and just get a couple of players, and then who knows, we could be competing for the league next season. But like what you said before, the maturity is there now compared to what it was last season, where we'll be 1-0 up or we'll be a goal up in the last 10-15 minutes, so we always somehow concede or we break it. So and it's good to see, even like even though it's not been talked about much, the clean sheets aspects, like how long has it been since we've had consecutive clean sheets and all of that stuff. We've been starved of clean sheets for last season for like how long, 20-25 games, something like that. And it's just a complete different team under Maresca, man, and I hope he continues to prove us all wrong. And I hope he is the guy, and I hope he is the manager that takes
Hold
us
on.
to
Who is he
the
supposed to be proving wrong though? I'm pretty sure I had him as my manager last year. He ain't
I think
proving
he's
me
talking
wrong,
about it
man.
in terms of the rivals and the
He's
people that
Yeah,
have
the general
discounted us.
aspect, not every single person. You know
Yeah,
what I
yeah.
mean?
He's proving me
The
right.
general
He's
aspect.
proving me right, is what I'm saying.
Come on, Couch. You know there's always going to be one that says, I want Maresca to be the guy.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at it from a statistical stats, I can't even say the word standpoint, statistical stat, I can't even say it. I'll stop saying it. But from that point,
Statistical.
anyway, yeah, from that point, we've been very good on paper. Like I said, third best defensive record in the league. There was one stat that I put in the group yesterday. It was about how I think we was one counter away from equaling Liverpool's from season to season, Liverpool's tally of like total attacks in the season. And so I don't know how meaningful that is, but it goes to show that we're actually creating, like I keep saying, and that we're actually, the idea of trying to break teams down and make things happen is there. But we just know what we need. We know what we need. We're going to get another winger. We're going to get strikers. We're going to improve this. This is what's going to lead on to the next part of this show in a minute. Is there anything else you guys want to say before we move on to more of like the board and the sporting directors? Because that's where I want to go next.
Yeah. I wanna chime in on the Maresca take because I was neutral. I didn't really know. He wasn't my first choice. I'll be honest. I know Cal's first choice, good choice to me. Even when we were kind of struggling, and say if we didn't make Champions League, I think I've seen enough anyway to give him another year. You know what I mean? Like I don't really recall much games except for like Brighton where we were under it. Like team should have like blown us away. Like most of it was mistakes, lack of maturity. Like a lot of things that I've seen as a base led me to be like, okay, let me give him another season. I don't think the director did him any favors sometimes with the players that he got because that even though as much as what Jackson is, he still offers a lot. I know recently he's been off form, but like that period where we lost Goo and Jackson, it was kind of difficult. You know what I mean? We had to make adjustments. He kind of made it, put Neto up top, kind of got some results. But, I think he's shown enough, especially on stats and the eye test, to be like, okay, let's give this guy another. And you got to remember, this is the first season in the Prep. And we're like,
He's managed to
hit
problem solve, hasn't he? That's a big thing.
And I think look at yesterday. We let Forrest have the ball. We didn't press so high. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think that kind of like Forrest is not used to when they have to dictate the game and they have to take the game to people. They kind of struggle with that. You know what I mean? He has shown he has adjusted. So like I feel like these players, like it'll be really good because they could peak at the same time. I see like what I don't agree with it necessarily, but I kind of see what the directors are trying to do, where you got these guys, talented group of young players, and they all peak like around the same time. You know what I mean? So we'll see. If we get
100%.
this summer right, man, I feel like it can really set us up.
That's where it goes to next, because obviously there's this tweet here saying congratulations to the owners. Chelsea FC in the first 3 seasons, the first year was 12th, the second season was 6th of Conference League, and now the third season in, we find ourselves in Champions League. That is progression. It don't matter what anyone tells you. From that part there, that is pure progression in terms of where we are as a team. In terms of Strasbourg as well, first year 13th. This year they've managed to make it to 7th in the French league, and they've managed to get Conference League football as well, which is massive for Strasbourg as well.
UCL, they're only a few results away from UCL football as well. So I've been keeping.
No, they
an
wouldn't
eye
have
on
got
them.
it. They wouldn't have got it, but
They wouldn't have got it. No.
Well, they'd have to, because like you can't have 2 teams with the same ownership in the one competition, right? So
yeah,
I'm sure that was a factor in them kind of like bottling it at the end.
Yeah. Listen, I want to factor in a bit of a breakdown on why it's so important that Chelsea made Champions League, because I don't really think we've yet been managed to delve into the facts, the understanding why it's important, what it means for the club moving forward, and then we can obviously get to the last part of the question after we've gone through it. So I'm just going to go through some bits with you. try and make it as quickly as I possibly can. If you guys want to say anything as I'm going along, just talk. It's no problem, but I'll try and speed it up. Obviously, the Champions League qualification. We've managed to secure it. The club itself has managed to demonstrate the effectiveness of club's rebuilding strategy moving forward. It also confirms that Chelsea. It confirms Chelsea among Europe's elite clubs again, which is another big factor in terms of global vision, especially from a sponsoring side. The first part I want to go through is the financial benefits of getting Champions League participation. So the base fee for going into it's around 18 to 20 million euros, right? Now the reason that Chelsea will get more than that, and it adds up to being like 40 to 50, maybe even more, is because you also get paid for the coefficient ranking bonus as well. So up to 36.38 million is paid for the UEFA's top 10 year ranking clubs. And the reason that we will find ourselves in pot one of that is because of our heritage in the European tournaments, and it's managed to give us another 30 odd million on top of the Champions League participation fee, which is what accumulates the overall either 50 or 60 million euros or whatever it is that we're going to be making from the Champions League. So number one, that's one of the first important parts of it as well. And as you go through the Champions League, you earn money from group stage to group stage draws to round 16 stage. You make money as you qualify, as you go up. So you go from like round of 16, for example, you earn 11 million euros. But when you get to the quarterfinals, you earn 12.5, semi-finals 15, and then you work all your way up to 25 million if you win the Champions League. So when you move on from that, the next part I want to talk about is the impact on players' contracts. Now, a lot of these contracts that we've tied down that the players have tied down with the club also have Champions League clauses in, which basically means that they earn their bonuses, that increases their wages, they can revisit their contracts in certain ways as well. But a reason why there's been such an incentive to push and it may be a big celebration from the players is because since not getting Champions League, in the contract that they've had themselves, there's been a stipulation that also incentivizes the fact that if they don't make Champions League, they lose a certain deduction of their overall wages as well, which I thought was quite interesting. So it's a long-term contract. You don't make Champions League, there's a little bit of a deduction against your wage. You make Champions League, you take on your Champions League bonuses. And this is for more like the star players that we've got. It doesn't apply to Reece James, for example, who kind of does what he wants in many ways. But this is why you've seen teams like Man United kind of suffer at the moment with the structure that they've got with wages and stuff. So this is another example of why it was important for Chelsea to get Champions League football and tying them down. When we move away from the player side, we go into the FIFA Club World Cup. Now, there's a 1 billion prize pool total for entering into this competition. Now, each European club will receive between 12 to 38 million pounds for entering in based on their commercial criteria and some other sporting stuff. Now, as they go along, there's obviously 32 teams in. As they go along the rounds, they earn money. So round of 16, you earn 7.5 mil. Quarterfinals, you earn 13. Semi-final, you earn $21 million. The finalists will win 30 million and the winner will win 40 million. So in total, the maximum potential earnings that you could make from just being in this competition, if you go all the way through and make it to the end, is $125 million reward in terms of winning. Basically winning it, which is quite interesting. So I'm just trying to like fly through this to give you an idea
So
of
it's basically £100 million.
basically, yeah, it's a
Champions
lot of
League,
money in it. But depending on where you get, you earn from it. So whether you make it to quarters, semis, round there, you still, you're still getting paid for entering into that section. So there's the Club World Cup, there's the Champions League we spoke about, but there's also the Conference League as well. And I know it's not touted as the biggest trophy in the game, but in terms of overall money put in
the Conference League, bruh. Come on, let's
blow
that, man.
It is, but to win the Conference League, you still earn 7 million for it. It's still another £7 million in your pocket. You can approximately earn about 11.27 million from start to finish if you win it. So if you like Chelsea, we've got all the way through to the final. If we beat Real Betis, the total we'll earn from just being in the Conference League is around 11 million euros for being in the competition. Peanuts, but it's still. Listen, it's still money added into the pot. Man. That could cover Sancho, for example, if we're sending him back. Or
Yeah,
You
it
know what I
covers
mean?
Donny Madueke's fee, man. It covers Donny Madueke's fee, man. There you go.
And then we move on to the enhanced sports sponsorship opportunities. Now, one of the big reasons why Chelsea Football Club have delayed the idea of taking on a main sponsorship is because of wanting to make Champions League football. And why? Because it attracts a lot of the major brands across the world in main sponsorship deals. Now, Chelsea are in a position where they could strike a 50-60 million pound annual deal with the main sponsorship. And this is without Nike, by the way. They're going to have two different sponsors, aren't they? Most probably, depending on how they go with it. So, what does that do? That sets us up moving forward to be in a position where we are good on from the PSR aspects, because if we manage to, which I think we will at this point now, manage to strike a deal with a global brand moving forward, because now we've managed to achieve Champions League, we would then be able to go into the next couple of years not worrying about PSR, knowing that we're going to be earning 50-60 million pounds a year from having a contract with a sponsorship, which is massive. And that has all been delayed because we haven't made it, and we have made it now. So the importance of doing that was huge from a sponsorship opportunity aspect as well. And then this is before we even get to going out into the window and selling players. Now, I think we're going to sell between 10, maybe 15, maybe more players over this summer window, right? I've worked it out that we're probably going to make between 100 and 150 million pounds in just selling players on and getting them off the books. So what does it mean for Chelsea moving forward from a financial position? It just means that in terms of the sustainability rules of the PSR, we'll be in a better position to make strategic investments in talent as we go forward, and also reduce the financial vulnerabilities as well, which we were not say having problems with, but we were struggling with without Champions League football. So us getting Champions League has set us up to have so many different avenues, especially this season, so many different avenues of income to come in, that it should look after us over this next 3, 4, 5 year period now, because of managing to achieve it. Now, the big question in all of it, and why we're so happy as a club, or should be able to so happy, is because we know that all this money is coming into our club. We know that. But the next question is going to be, how are the owners and board going to utilize the funds that they have? Who are they going to buy? Who are they going to bring in? How they're going to utilize it? And are we going to get the best out of that? That's the next big question.
It's not even so much that, because I think that getting to this level where we're in the Champions League and we have this like additional revenue, it's about, are they able to attract the top level talents now, like the ones that would only come if, like how we missed out on Elise last year? Are we going to be able to get those type of talents? Are we going to be able to get those negotiations over the line? And then how does that impact, the ability to, like I think Luke said it, like Luke Butterway said it, like the Jordan brand deal, all of that stuff is very much appealing. I think he said something about like the CFC sponsor or whatever.
Mm.
Yeah, all of that stuff is massive, man. In terms of like the globalization of this club, getting a Jordan brand sponsorship, being able to get those top tier targets, not having to negotiate for B targets like we did all last summer. That to me is the key, man. So let's see where it goes.
What
from
my
there.
point being,
more
Raj,
so,
is that
less than the money, more so the negotiation for these top.
it is, but for me, it is the money as well, because the timing of it. The timing of it all coming together is massive, and this is why me going through that and breaking it down was important for people to see the levels of funding that we're going to be coming in before we even get to this summer window and start dealing with the sales of players that are not good enough. This comes to Raheem Sterling's. We know that we're going to sell Nkunku, but we might be able to make a little bit of profit with him, maybe not. Potentially, we know we can sell people like Carney Chukwuemeka if we want to, because he's been doing well himself, and he's another prodigy that could potentially go on and we can make a good market on. But we also know that we're going to lose profits on a lot of players like Raheem Sterling, Disasi, these type of players that that we're going to lose on value. However, but in terms of the wage book, taking Sterling off the wage book is massive, 300k. Do you know what I mean? So it's about clear. And then Nkunku is also another one, by the way. He's on quite a big wage as well. People don't realise it. So, yeah, Chilwell as well. So what I'm saying is our stance of being happy with where we are now and getting Champions League is massive to the fact that we're going into that competition. But when you look at it from an overall prospecting, from what I've gone through and all of the incomes that we've got coming in based on us achieving this, It's huge. And now this is why they've got so much pressure on themselves now, the owners, to make sure that they make, in my opinion, the right decisions moving forward with the income that they've got coming in. I agree with what you're saying, but they need to now, they've got no excuse, in my opinion. They
Yeah,
have to now make things happen, you know?
can I chime in on this, Jen? Because like at first did have UCL and represent our project, and I guess the younger players so much we were convincing them. But now we even have more stronger players, like when we're presenting our project, and it's like after a while, if the project's not going nowhere, people are gonna start to catch on. Like, all right, yeah, they're best over there. We're not gonna really. We're gonna look at other projects before Chelsea. You know what I mean? But now they see that progression. They see, okay, this may have legs. Like this group may have going somewhere with what they're doing, and we the Champions League you choose on like every facet. That's why I think the celebrations was so much. Just like, okay, maybe people say we overdid it, but it's huge for a lot of these players, for the club, for the like I think it's a pivotal moment. It could be like our 2003 moment. When we scored that goal
100%.
against Liverpool. Yeah, you know what I mean? So
And that's
huge.
without also the youth development side of it as well. You know, we've not even spoke about the fact that we've still got, you know, the youth out in competitive, you know, on the competitive leagues, trying to increase their market values. Not all of them are going to make it into the team, but there's an ambition to see that we could sell them for profit in the future if they do well in the, you know, in wherever they are across Europe. You know, I can see what they're trying to do in terms of vision. I do see it partly. I still have my question marks with the actual sporting directors and how they're going to move forward with the club. But in terms of what the vision is of the owners and what they're trying to do and how it looks now, we've even got Champions League football as well. You can see that there is kind of a clearer picture to keep this club quite passive, so that it runs itself for a couple years moving forward. But we need to continue to make sure that we're entering into Champions League football. We have to get Champions League football.
Yeah.
You know,
And as far as the sporting directors go, they identify the right targets every time. Like all the players that we've been linked to are good players. Like even the ones that we missed out on. Are you kidding me?
I mean, some of them. I mean,
they've identified some really good targets. We just.
I mean, they have. But the Palmer one, I think, was. I wouldn't say it's a fluke, but you know, obviously that was a great signing. Caicedo, you know, Lavia and Cucurella to a degree.
List goes on and on.
Nah, they do got a lot of hits. They
got a lot of stinkers, though.
I think, yeah, but I think the biggest thing for us is just the experience piece, and I feel like this transfer window is going to tell us, okay, they aren't budgeting.
Facts.
All right, they need all right, they're waiting for this or something like that. You know what I mean? This will tell us a lot.
Yeah, and even to that, like when you talk about like most of these the player type that we need, like that experienced leader type, you know, that has, you know, won at the highest level. Those guys aren't coming to play for a youth team like a U21 team at Chelsea who haven't qualified for the Champions League, right? So, like Xavi said, I agree. Like this is the summer where all the objectives have been met. You know, the squad is maturing. Now you have to show your mettle and show us that you can get these bigger targets over the line now. Because we've identified the right players all the time. It's just we haven't had the objectives in place to get those players in. So we'll see where it goes now.
There's no excuse. That's the big thing. And this is why the excitement comes to me, because breaking it down and realizing that the Club World Cup come at the right time, getting into Champions League football, all right, you know, not having a sponsorship for, you know, for a while until we got to this point. We've put ourselves in a very good position financially moving forward now. And for, like I keep stressing about the PSR, like the PSR is important now because we have to sustain it. The fact that we are able to sustain it now with the amounts of, you know, profitable income coming in for the competitions that we've won and the sponsorship deals that we're going to strike is a massive stride. And still knowing that in the next couple of years moving forward, providing we're not going out and signing fucking £200 million players because we've got money now and doing stupid things, like, which I don't think we will, but you know, we'll be able to sustain and run. It will be able to sustain and run itself pretty well and allow us to be at the top to challenge for the best players across Europe as well, across the world. And that's where we need to be moving forward. Now, Chelsea just need to do two things for me: strengthen the team in the summer, continue to make sure that they reach Champions League football, and we hit 69 points this year, yeah? Well, I think we need to hit between 75 and 85 points next season. That's my aim. That's my aim. Yeah, where that puts us,
75 and 80.
I don't know.
That's
But
that is attainable. It's a stretch, but yeah, we'll see.
Yeah.
Because don't forget we have Champions League now too, so we're not gonna be able to rest the squad. These guys haven't been through the two matches a week type schedule, So depending on how we strengthen, I'll say that. Depending on how we strengthen,
I agree.
yeah.
I think we have
But
to.
I
wait and
gotta
see.
run, man. I gotta go. My
Yeah,
kids
we're not too long now anyway. I'm going to come off
Yeah.
myself in a second. But thanks for coming on, Couch, as always. I appreciate it.
every time.
And,
Big it up, man.
Big
Big it up.
yourself.
Good to see you again. Let's
See
do
you
this
later.
again, man. What's wrong with you, man?
Yeah, man.
Killing me, B.
I need to build it up, man.
You let Don spread his propaganda all over the internet now. For you, it was your fault, man.
I'll sort it out, man. We'll get something done, for sure.
All right, man.
mate.
Take care, fellas.
See you later.
Speak soon.
Take
All
care.
right, big up. Yo, Jem.
Yes.
Have you done a segment on Caicedo?
No, you can talk about Caicedo if you want. Why not?
I feel like, personally, to me, I feel like this guy needs to start. Like, I seen the stat yesterday that he played 38 games out of 38. Something that we haven't did since like Aspie or someone else.
Since Lampard, I think, or whatever.
Yeah. I think like it can be understated what he has done for us this season, and the fact that he's not in the team of the season is diabolical. Like he's the I could say our other players are contributors, but he's one of the main reasons why we're pushing the field this year. I think him and Cucurella. I think Cucurella is the second shout that has been massive for us this season as well. You know what I mean? But Moses Caicedo, like he's done everything. He was winning, and you could tell like he really cares. He really wanted it. You could see after the celebrations. You know what I mean? Even the Liverpool game, he's busting runs like everywhere. You know what I mean? I think our midfield is one of the strongest positions, but
it is our strongest in the squad for sure.
Yeah,
I think
he needs his flowers. Like he needs his flowers this season. I just have to get my appreciation up to Caicedo.
100%, mate. I think Caicedo's been awesome. I think he's easily been our player of the season. Every game he's been solid. I thought yesterday he had a bit of a weird game. Now he was a little bit rusty at the beginning for me, and then he sort of just grew into it later on as he does. But yeah, he's no doubt, you can't knock his qualities. I think he's absolutely quality. Our midfield for me is quality. I love everyone in our midfield. I love the way that we can bring Lavia on and just shut up shop and then just control the game nicely as well.
And
Santos coming into the team now means I think that we might be able to rest a couple people for once. Like Enzo, we don't have to play all the time, or do you know what I mean? Like we don't have to always play Caicedo Enzo, which has been the case for the last 2+ seasons now. These guys need rotation, especially with Champions League coming as well. So
then we have Caicedo B coming in, I think, soon.
Caicedo B coming in. He will get a couple games. We should have like 5 midfielders now going into this next part. We should be strengthened. So yeah, listen.
Keep Leslie?
It depends what we're doing with everyone else. Like if we're gonna, I don't know. It's a hard one. I like Leslie. I just don't know whether we're going to sell him because he's pure profit, isn't he? If we sold him, we'd make money on him because he played so well.
I wouldn't mind if we sell him, but it may sound weird. Like I feel like the height that he can offer, the physicality in the midfield, and we need that physicality. But we've seen that we've survived without that. Like we are physical in that sense, but like just for that, those games like the Nottingham Forest, where or the Brentford, where we got to deal with that shit.
Yeah, he's physical, he's tall, he understands the league. It'd make a lot of sense, especially if Lavia. We can't trust him, really. That's the problem. We can't trust that Lavia is going to be fit all the time. And that's where I worry about next season and making sure that we're not short. It's going to be important. But listen, we're going to do transfer windows and transfer talk and everything else. I just wanted to go through more of the overall and the meanings of actually getting Champions League football, which we've done. We had over 50 people here. It was a good show. I haven't been on in GNA in ages. Like I said, I think we might make a new channel though. New channel might come, guys, so we can start fresh because this one's been a bit battered, unfortunately, because of YouTube. But we move. But Hassan and Javi, big up to yourself, boys. Thank you for popping through. Up the Chelsea, guys.
Big up.
And I'll let you know when we sort out the new show, guys. Make sure you're around because I'm going to be back on throughout the transfer window again. So see you soon. Take care.
All right, big up.